Despite the fact that many companies nowadays have policies forbidding relationships between their coworkers, numerous affairs start in the workplace. The main reason could be that the employees spend a lot of time working side by side, and friendships and sometimes relationships naturally develop. And before the person can even know it, one thing leads to another and romance is already in the air. When it comes to dating someone from the office, it is really good to think about the situation with a sober head before starting anything. Think about the risks that you may be taking and what the consequences are if things somehow don't work out. Here are several important things you should consider, both positive and negative, before you take that first step into an office relationship. The best thing about dating somebody you work with is that you already know them. When you work with a person, you know a lot more about them than if you were to meet him or her a couple of times out in the café or in the bar. Of course, you may really meet someone one evening in the bar, but a relationship in this case is most often formed on a physical attraction rather than an actual attraction to the person. At work, you generally become interested in the person over time, which is more conducive to a working relationship. Plus, the ways you get to see your colleague are much more valuable than a quick acquaintance over drinks would be, because you get to see how this person behaves in different situations. The person behaves naturally and never wears the mask that most people put on when they start their romantic relationship. When people work side by side, they get an idea of who each of them is, how successful they are, what makes them happy, and what they hate the most. And you can get all of this information quite naturally, without any pretense or acting. Another great thing about dating a coworker is the chance to spend a lot of time together. Seeing each other on a regular basis takes off the pressure of the beginning of a relationship when most of people get very nervous. If you see your coworker every day from morning till the end of the working day and still are attracted to the person, the chances are you will have a strong and healthy relationship. Sometimes, when you encounter a problem at work, it seems like everyone minds their own business and they don't even want to do anything with you or your problem. If you are dating a workmate, they will be more willing to give you a hand than anyone else would. They can stay late with you, and the fact that you work together means that they are quite acquainted and suited with your work and may really be able to help. However, there are a few other factors that must be taken into consideration before jumping into an office romance. First of all, when you begin a relationship with someone at work, you must be prepared that other coworkers will talk behind your back and gossip about you too. Remember, more open you are, of course everything depends on a company policy, less interesting it will be for people to talk about you, and they will quickly forget about you and will get distracted with another interesting subject. Working together the whole day can also have its disadvantages in addition to a positive side. Yes, it is very good to spend a great deal of time together with an object of your heart, but consider that from time to time you merely need a break from each other. Seeing each other on a regular basis, starting with working hours and finishing with evenings and weekends, for some people might simply be too much. This is a huge pressure on a new relationship which might explode one day. Last, but of course not least, is the breakup factor. If the worst happens and your relationship comes to an end, it can turn out to be a real disaster in the workplace for both people involved. First of all, the atmosphere is going to be more than a little tense at the office, especially if the relationship went horribly wrong or there was a messy breakup. Going back to work can be confusing, hard, or sometimes, and for some people, even impossible. And one of you would have to leave that workplace and try and find a job somewhere else. So, if you are dedicated to your company and your career and don't feel like leaving it soon, then the best thing for you to do would be to look for love or a romantic relationship anywhere, but not your office.